What is going on there, Battlefielders? My name is Paul and welcome back to the channel, unless of course it's your first time here, so subscribe, stay tuned. Today on the menu we have a patch note breakdown. And this is an interesting one. We know we have Giant Shadow added to the mix. This is considered a light DLC, so I'm going to do what I normally do, choose and pull the juiciest details from the patch notes and plug them into one simplified video. If you want to check out all of them, that's located down in the description below. Click that link, it'll take you straight to the patch notes. But without further ado, let's just dive straight in. We have the Giant Shadow map added, at least for those that have pre-ordered or premium. The rest of it comes out to you guys in the 20th, I believe it is. They have a new grenade crossbow added for the support class and a new and improved spectator mode, which is pretty cool for those that like to record and dabble in that sort of thing. Now, moving over to the balance changes, which is pretty much the entirety of this video because this is the big stuff. And this is also highly exciting stuff because up until now, Battlefield has generally only changed and balanced and tweaked things every 3 or 4 months. So it's looking like we may get these every month, and that's cool stuff right there. So, to start off the list, we have reduced AA range from 400 meters down to 334. That's pretty much 20% of the range of the AA just chopped off. Not a big fan of that. I know a lot of people are anti-AA, but for me, I feel like it's really fine how it is, and I didn't think that was a necessary change. But either way, the community asked for it, they delivered. Over to page 2. What? Armor got a makeover? So the mortar pattern for the Landship now is 5 seats. They've added 2 LMG seats on the sides of the ship. The squad support pattern for Landship now has front-firing 20 meat missile cannons instead of an LMG, which is a pretty good change. Landship now takes as much damage as the heavy tank. Boo! Not a big fan of that. I feel like tanks are a little overwhelming right now. Decrease the amount of health restored by emergency repairs on Landship and heavy tank. We're talking about 5%, 10% respectively, which is a good thing, but still I don't think enough in the end. Bombers now take 20% more damage from bullets. They've increased the throwing velocity of the light AT grenade to match the frag grenade. Now this is really interesting because for those that have actually spent time using them, you know they just kind of delivered really slow. They were really hard to lead, and it was very hard to hit your target. This is a very good improvement overall. Just another way that infantry can have a better chance of fighting back at armor. They've increased the accuracy, recoil, and hipfire of the M1903 experimental. The damage of the gun was never in question. Maybe the drop off a little bit. This is just going to make it easier to use, which is exciting. I fully expect to do an entire gameplay of the updated experimental tomorrow, so stay tuned, subscribe for that. And, of course, they've tweaked the LMG reload time slightly to match animations, and this is most of them across the board, just tiny little changes. They made revolvers and a Halda pistol recover from dispersion quicker. What that basically sounds like is recoil recovery. It just happens a little faster. Flares no longer set people on fire while looking down. Praise Blubber! This is super news. I'm main scout, and I can't tell you how many times in a game I set myself on fire. You just shoot and it kind of like rolls out of the gun and you're just in the vicinity, you register and set your own self on fire. It happens to me all the time. This is really good news. They fixed the Martini-Henry sweet spot multiplier damage to bring it in line with other snipers. If you did not know, it had a much higher multiplier on limbs and feetses and knees and stuff, so they've kind of brought it back, so you're going to see a lot less one-shot kills with the Martini-Henry now. They've increased the number 3 rate of fire from 150 to 164 and reduced the reload time from 2.66 seconds to 2.3 seconds. So overall, pretty nice buff for that gun because it definitely needed it. They've slightly increased the Hell Regal horizontal and first shot recoil, which technically means it's a nerf, so it's a little bit harder to use. And they've reduced the range for the M97 trench gun, Model 10A, and sawed-off shotgun. I do want to mention that the gameplay you're watching right now is in fact post-patch. You're seeing me use the Model 10 right now after all of the changes have gone through, and it's still a pretty viable thing. Basically, all of these changes, to summarize, are going to make the guns overall a little weaker in the shotgun category with distance, but they're going to make things like the 12-gauge auto and the M97 a bit more viable so that it's not always just the Model 10. You can now use the rest of them, and they're going to keep up with the Model 10. So they've added an extra pellet to the M97 trench gun variants and improved the damage drop-off for the sweeper variant. So this is, again, another way they're trying to make this a viable option to go alongside the Model 10. And the backboard shotgun variants have range improved, and this is cool overall as well. They also increased the accuracy of the 12-gauge automatic just to make it more viable when you try to spray and spam the shots. The what? Lewis M1909 and bar minimum damage increase from 21 to 23, which is really good. The LMG damage drop-off happens at a further distance now, and they've reduced the horizontal recoil on the Huat, Lewis, and M1909. The Huat got a major change in that area, so it's going to be an entirely different beast to deal with, and that's really cool in my opinion. So, As we come to a close, we have two final things worth mentioning. The mortars have become a bit more accurate. We don't have exact values, we just know that they're going to be more viable and reliable now. The syringe cooldown has been added to prevent revive trains, air quotes. So basically, they want it so that if you see 1 or 2 guys on the ground, you can revive them no problem. But to prevent people from reviving 3 or 4 or 5 people at a time, they've added the slight cooldown just so that things move a little bit more smooth in the end. And I'm all behind this change as well. So many times I've come around the corner and killed 5 dudes, but the last guy in the squad revives all of them instantly. And it's over just like that. So this is a cool change. So to summarize everything we've broken down so far, landships have definitely got a buff to bring them more in line so people start using those, and it's just not all heavy tanking. To be honest, you don't see landships that often anymore. You don't see too many light tanks either because the landships are just so dominant. The shotguns have been overhauled. Lots of them have been brought up to compete with the Model 10, while the Model 10 and shotguns overall have been brought down a little bit with range. I noticed a slight change, but they're still really, really strong and more viable than SMGs in my opinion. And the Automatica went untouched, so it's still a dominant beast in the assault category. Last but definitely not least, the support has seen some pretty impressive changes as well. Not only do they have a new crossbow, but we have damage changes, recoil changes, major things fixed to almost every gun in the category besides the Madsen. And this is good because the Huat's going to be viable now. The Lewis is going to be more reliable. And this is really, really cool stuff because support is probably my second favorite class behind Scout. And I loved it before. And if you're just going to make it stronger for me, thank you. So let's bring it to a vote, guys. What do you think is the best change in this patch? Do you think it's any of the things I previously mentioned? Do you have your own opinion? Let me know down in the comment section below. I personally am a big fan of the flare change. I am totally tired of combusting all over myself. I hated getting set on fire because I would do this multiple times a match, and I would basically go into any engagement with like 20 health gone, and it's kind of silly that that happened, so I'm glad that this has become a thing. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button as it really helps the channel grow, and I'll catch you guys with a few breakdown videos of some of these LMG shotguns and the experimental in the next few days.